These 6 South Asian women have one hormonal thinking problem, and you would never guess it from the results they got. They had 6 different lifestyles, nobody the same. 6 different jobs, 6 different environments. Lived in different countries and got similar results. Had 6 different kids relationship strategies. 1 with kid, 2 with kids, 0 kids, single as a Pringle. They all had different strategies when it comes to their relationship, their home life. But surprisingly, they had the same outcome. Look at the results that you see here. Very similar results. They got amazing results. Here was the only commonality between all 6 of them. You've got South Asian, obviously, we work with brown people. And then the other one is PCOS. Now, call a spade a spade. If they've all got PCOS, but they all have amazing results, why is that being utilized as an excuse to not make change right now? Maybe you're watching this video thinking, I've got PCOS, I thought it was the problem. Let me explain why it's not the problem, and just a little bit of a barrier for you that I'm going to unbreak in this next 2 minutes. So these are 2 scales. These are scales from 0 to 10. On 1 is how you feel PCOS affects you on a fat loss perspective, and how the science as it affects fat loss. Now, because of the way that you feel with low energy, low mood, blood sugar crashes, blood sugar spikes, maybe really strong period problems as you go through every single month, and therefore every single month you feel like because of these barriers that are being placed and because you've been given this diagnosis, it sits around that 8 out of 10 mark when it comes to how PCOS impacts your fat loss. But really, PCOS impacts obviously your energy levels, your mood, maybe the calories that you burn, which I'll explain in a minute, but most important is it affects how you feel, which then poses the question of what do you do when you don't feel good? And then we open up a can of worms of eat, move less, eat more. And therefore the PCOS makes you feel a certain way, but then the outcome is the food side of things, which is that's where the fat loss is not happening because of the PCOS. And this is the system that we changed for these ladies. We changed how they felt so that they didn't have to eat and not move and feel crap, because what they did is that we used strategies that made them feel better, look better, and actually reduce their symptoms of PCOS by losing a bunch of body fat, which is what happens when you decrease your body fat levels. Most of the time, the PCOS reduces. An interesting fact, all of our 3 coaches, Dimple, Ojita, and Leah, all have PCOS, been diagnosed multiple years, and yet they all have very low symptoms because they keep on top of their body fat levels and not having a super high BMI. It allows them to be relatively asymptomatic towards a PCOS, which then helps how they feel on a day-to-day basis to do all the other things that they've got to do in God's green earth. It's about 2 out of 10. It reduces the amount of calories that someone with PCOS burns on a day-to-day basis, but that is the only thing. The rest of it is affecting how they feel, not how fat loss is done on a day-to-day basis. Now, if we establish that scientifically fat loss happens with PCOS and that you feel terrible with your PCOS, so therefore you might eat more, then how do we actually solve that with the 6 ladies that got in amazing shape? So first off, we followed our proven track record of creating South Asian customized diets. Doesn't mean that you eat South Asian Indian food. It means that it's customized to you and your lifestyle. You might eat traditional food once a week. You might not eat it at all, but you're still South Asian. You still have the cultural dynamics, the behaviors, the mindset around it, which then all classifies under diet. We make a South Asian customized diet that allows you to follow things and get consistency straight away, which then leads to body fat percentage down. It leads to BMI coming down, and it also leads to feeling better because you're not feeling like a potato anymore, which is absolutely awesome. And then 2 is we focus on the lifestyle of someone who wants to stay healthy and active, but hold them, with number 3, accountable. When you combine accountability of getting someone to commit to doing something, whether that's doing training 3 to 4 days a week, whether that's resistance training, whether that's 10 to 12K steps on a day-to-day basis, and then you add accountability, weekly check-ins, daily support, Monday to Friday, that allows people to get going and moving. Now, the problem is where you're not losing body fat, not dropping BMI, that when you're stuck in this environment, not feeling better, then you're less likely to do everything else and less likely to be accountable. When you focus on this being the facet, where if you get a diet that you can do consistently, when you reduce the body fat fast, then you actually get an increase in feel good, which then makes you want to do it again. And it makes you want to stay there and increase your lifestyle factors and then reduce the symptoms of your PCOS and then tackle bigger challenges and get over 5 kilos, then 10 kilos, then 15 kilos. Most importantly, you need to have a plan that fits. You need to have a lifestyle that does the things that contributes to PCOS being in a more lower state. Let me give you an example. If you have PCOS and you hate training, you hate feeling good. That's it. Feeling good might come down to your blood sugar levels. If you don't move and you eat roti and rice and biscuits and servings all of the time, but you've got nowhere for this blood sugar to go, it's going to stay in your blood sugar and make you lethargic. If you actually go to gym 3 to 4 days a week and do 10,000 steps, that blood sugar can be used as energy. So it's not in your blood sugar, it's actually in your muscles, which is here, and then it gets utilized as fuel. So you're not feeling lethargic because you're using the blood sugar to fuel the sugar in your muscles to then get those 3 to 4 sessions in, and then you actually have better insulin management. Insulin management comes down to what you do, not what happened to you. For example, if you're type 1 diabetic, you have to inject insulin every single day to stay alive. Whereas we don't have to do that. We have our own sources, but we have to make them efficient if we have PCOS. So therefore, with your blood sugar, you have to do stuff to be more efficient. It's a two-way street. If you don't want to feel good, you actually have to do more with PCOS in terms of you have to move, you have to train. You don't get away with not training and not exercising because you'll feel worse instantly because of the things like blood sugar management that is a problem with PCOS. If you have that as a lifestyle factor and have it as an accountable and drop your weight significantly, you will find it much easier to have the less symptoms of that. And if you still think PCOS is the reason why you haven't lost fat, then let's just break this down. Let's go through a few more things. One is, when is the last time you weighed and tracked every single thing you ate or drank in 14 days? Because that will give you an understanding of what you're actually truly doing. And that'll tell us about the other habits beforehand, so you'll be able to see what that is. Number 2 is, I guarantee that you'll have cheat days. You have days where you feel like you need snacks, which is cravings, and you feel like you don't fancy dieting today. And you're over a 21 to 28 day period, I guarantee that there'll be at least 25% of that feel these particular ways. And it might be a short thing in the morning. Oh, fancy that croissant. Oh, I couldn't say no to my mum. Oh, I'm craving my mum's chicken curry. I gotta have it because she said it. Oh, we'll just have a cheat meal, takeaway on a Friday. Whatever it is, you'll be there. And number 3, on average, your steps will either be less than 4K across a 21 to 28 day period, or they'll be upwards of 15 to 20K over a 21 day to 28 day period. This person needs to move more. This person has a food issue because they're trying to outburn their calories that they're ingesting from this one here. So don't be that person, because you're getting nowhere and you're like an expensive hamster on a wheel. If you want to find out a little bit more about how we help the South Asian community with their PCOS and the 6 results, and get more insight on how we help them specifically and read about them and their journeys along the way, give them the word PCOS and we'll send you over a free guide.